Hello everybody, vanburman here, and welcome to another podcast. Today I want to talk about the new craze which has hit the gaming scene recently, and that is of course Grand Theft Auto 5. I do not have it, of course, otherwise it would obviously be on the channel, but furthermore I have no intention of buying it anyway. And there's many reasons for this. Probably the first reason, which is a bit more of a technicality, is the fact that I only have my computer now, so I don't have my PlayStation to be able to play on, as it's not come out on PC yet, or at all. It doesn't really bother me if it never comes out on PC. So there's that side of things. The other part is that it's really not my type of game, and the reason for that is I disagree with the ethos of the game and how it portrays many things. I understand that there's the old argument that people aren't going to go around and shoot people and drive them over in cars in real life, so why shouldn't they be able to do it in a game controlled environment? And for me, really, the major problem is the fact that age restrictions really play no part in availability of a game. Quite frankly, there's no way you can really stop a younger person, a young teenager, or even a child being able to play the Grand Theft Autos, no matter which one it is, especially some of the older ones, which of course you can pick up for almost next to nothing, pre-owned in the game or another local video game shop. And of course, because it's older, people think that it's not as bad and that it's not as violent. Obviously, because the graphics aren't maybe as good. There's definitely a distinct difference between the PlayStation 1 Grand Theft Auto and the PlayStation 2s. You've got a much. There's been a big improvement in the graphics of those two games, and that does have an impact on the age of the person that should be able to play it. But the fact of the matter is that they are easily accessible, no matter what platform you're going to play it on. And even on the PlayStation 1, obviously the connotations or the main soul of the Grand Theft Auto of the franchise is still in there. And the thing that worries me so much, well, maybe not worries, concerns, is the fact that a lot of people are very hyped, I guess, about Grand Theft Auto, about wanting to go around and do that sort of stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not just Grand Theft Auto. There is Saints Row, of course, which is maybe a bit more on the comical side, I guess, despite the fact that Grand Theft Auto obviously has some jokes and stuff in it. I mean, I have played a few of them. 3, I think Grand Theft Auto 3 was the one I played the most. Not for a huge amount of time, but a little bit. And quite frankly, it's not really the type of game that I can see myself playing. I know I dislike it, for the semantics, really. Just the idea of going out and doing that. It just doesn't appeal. Of course, people say that it's just a video game, and children realise that, or young people realise that. It's not always the case. In the vast majority of cases it is. Just look at wrestling. Don't try this at home. I have definitely tried wrestling at home. So maybe it's on a bit more of a serious level because it's Grand Theft Auto, which is stealing cars effectively, and it sort of is criminal offence if I body slam my friend onto a sofa. It's not really a criminal offence. The parents are going to be upset, but hey, it's not in the same level. I agree. And as I say, coming back to the main point of the problem with that I do have with GTA being the availability, is the fact that having an 18 age restriction on a game doesn't stop anything, quite frankly. The fact that they've sold so many copies is not due. They're not all going to be from people who are over 18 years of age, that's for sure. And the other part is Rockstar are aware of that. Now, of course, in Australia, I think, was that Saints Row or GTA? But it was one of them, and they didn't actually want to release it. So you do have, obviously that problem, or that way of dealing with it as well, which doesn't work, of course. People are always going to buy the game for their children, or get the friends to go and buy it, or you've got an irresponsible shopkeeper who's going to sell it because obviously he wants the sale of the game, or your parents have bought it and they're at work and you come home from school and play it. But the main problem is from that is the fact that it's glorified, and that is one of the other problems. It is glorifying hiring a prostitute in the game. It's glorifying running someone over with a car in the game. It's glorifying going around shooting people in the game. Don't get me wrong, there are many games like such as Black Ops where you go around and kill people, and it is basically where you go out to try and crush and destroy the other person. Granted, GTA, I don't know if it's online or not, maybe, and you're doing that with civilians, helpless civilians. You run behind them and smack them in the back of the head. It's not quite the same thing. At least on Call of Duty, everyone knows, for example, that you're out to shoot each other. The immaturity levels on that game, of course, have the same problems as GTA. I mean, I'm not just criticising GTA for the age restrictions. I'm just criticising GTA in general because it's the most prominent point at this moment in time. Now, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me and think that I'm just a killjoy, which is, quite possibly true. But I think to ignore the fact that it does actually have a negative effect, and to ignore the fact that it is such a game where you can go out and pretty much do whatever you like. As I say, I do understand that people want to have that sort of simulation, but I think it's sad that we want that, quite frankly. It's obviously not something you go out and do in real life, and I appreciate that, but that doesn't make it any better that you're doing it in a video game. You can be forgiven for some games because they're set in futuristic places, and they're normally mission based. I know Grand Theft Auto is mission based, but it is really a sandbox game. You can pretty much go out and do whatever you want. Granted, you might need to do certain missions before you can, for example, buy a house or whatever, but quite frankly it is pretty much open-ended. So you might think that me going around smashing in zombies with cricket bats is bad, but that's more survival rather than just doing it because you can, effectively. I don't really have anything more to say on the matter. Please do leave a comment if you agree with me. There's not really much point, but if you disagree, that's fine. I'm perfectly welcome to read people's comments on the matter. But I just thought I would share my point with you about it, about GTA and Grand Theft Auto, and how I feel about those sort of games. They're not my favourites, and they're not ones that I would recommend people to go and play, or for me to play myself even. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the podcast, and please do tune in for some more, hopefully very soon. Goodbye.